Hey everyone, I haven't played my main in a few months this season, but recently I decided to climb again. I decayed to Plat 1, but I'm quickly climbing and I'm in Masters of MMR games now. Thing is, if I'm not playing at a high level, I think my mechanics might be washed. But even when outclassed mechanically, my game knowledge and decision making carries me against these players. Today I'm going to show you an example of this where I'm playing Oriana vs Victor, and I wasn't really playing that well mechanically, but through a few small things, I got 3 kills in 5 minutes. And the best thing is, the concepts here are actually very easy to implement in any ELO and on any champion. So with that being said, let's get into it. At the start of the lane, as the minions are approaching, I already have a concept I want to teach you guys, since it's one that is extremely important to laning, and it has an infinite skill ceiling. Even the best players in the world are constantly improving at this. We're just going to call it spacing. Simply put, good spacing lets you get free hits on the enemy champion without being in range to be hit yourself. Ori Q and Victor Q have very similar ranges, but Ori can use Q and start moving, and while it travels, I can turn around, which will let me hit Victor and avoid his Q. He knows this though, and is trying to avoid my Q while hitting his own, so he can proc his first strike. Sadly, I just barely can't reach him with my Q here from his good spacing. We'll see plenty more examples of this throughout the lane. Now, we can already talk about another fundamental concept to any lane. Laning is almost like a turn-based game. I just use Q so it's down, meaning it's Victor's turn. He knows this and is trying to use his turn and hit me with Q. I have no CS to get though, so I'm not going to give him that, and we'll just play outside his Q range until my Q is back up. Now I can walk back up and start autoing the wave. It could seem like I lost nothing from staying out of his Q range a little bit earlier, but that's not true. It prevented me from trying to push the wave with autos so I could have the push advantage. But after grabbing my first last hit, I have none to go for now, and Victor is going to look to grab this low health minion. This is the next fundamental concept of laning, contesting CS. Almost everything you do in lane should be based on CS, as it makes the enemy have to make a choice, like in this example here. Victor knows I'm contesting this last hit. He has first strike as well, so if I hit him, it'll put that on cooldown. So he has to decide if he wants to take the damage from my Q and pop his first strike, or give up the last hit. With good spacing, I can throw Q without letting him use his own Q on me at the same time, but I didn't walk in a straight line away from him, so he just barely got in range to trade back a little bit. It was still good for me, but it could have been avoided. Victor Q has a longer cooldown than mine though, so I'll have about 3 to 4 seconds where it's still my turn here and I can try to poke him. With his good spacing though, he just barely avoids my Q. In lower ELOs, where you might be playing in, they won't have good spacing like this, so you want to be taking your turn and using it like this every time. Don't let the enemy laner breathe when they don't have abilities. But now it's Victor's turn, since my Q is down and his is up. From my poor spacing, he got in range to tag me with his Q like this. Then, my Q comes back up, and notice, he has a big minion advantage here as I walk up to contest the CS. The minion wave doesn't matter though, because I'm not going to auto him, and he doesn't have an ability to use, so I have to contest this last hit. So as he walks up for it, I throw my Q and make sure he pays the price for that minion. Honestly, in just these first 30 seconds of laning, we went over the 3 core fundamentals of trading and how to play laning phase, excluding recalls. If you do these 3 things and get good at them, you have a solid foundation to build from when it comes to being a strong laner. That's why at skillcapped we have courses separated into individual concepts. Want to focus on laning? We got you covered with 7 courses. Interested in wave control instead? There's 5 courses waiting for you to uncover. Or maybe it's macro you're struggling with instead? I'm sure you're starting to get the idea. This is why skillcapped actually works. You can focus on mastering one topic at a time at your own pace. If it didn't work, we wouldn't be able to offer our rank improvement guarantee for years now. Join the hundreds of thousands of satisfied skillcapped members by clicking the link in the description below. Now back to the guide. But like I said earlier, I was getting outclassed a bit by the Victor, but I end up 3-0, so let's keep going to see what happens. As the next wave arrives, Victor walks up like this looking to take his turn with Q, but my Q came up, so I should actually win this trade. But as I threw my Q, I canceled my auto attack. This was my first mistake. After canceling it, I tried to compensate for that by chasing for more autos. Then we both hit level 2, and this is where I made my next big mistake. I leveled up W second, but my Q was down, so I had no way of moving it towards him before the trade was over. If I leveled E second, this trade would have been much better. So at this point, I'm losing, and the wave is pushing to me, so it's not like I can just shove him in and recall, which would make this lost trade irrelevant. The only way to salvage the situation is by punishing a big mistake from Victor, even though there's not many things he could mess up from this point, or by winning some trades through good spacing. But he just has to keep pushing and keep the pressure up as I don't have TP. I brought flash and heal, and we'll go over why in a bit. But I managed to punish this last hit. He was going for with my Q and W, which is a good start on salvaging the lane, but he hits me with a laser and Q, so I'm basically back to where I started. While his abilities are down, I take that time to grab last hits and auto the wave to try and thin it out a bit. Trimming his wave down with autos is helpful because the less minions he has, the slower the wave pushes to me, which makes it harder for him to recall. It gives him less minions to help him trade, it makes it harder for him to survive a gank if my jungler decided to. But now his laser is coming up, and he's going to hit level 3, so odds are he puts his third point in laser instead of W, which is a common thing Victors do. It will do more damage, but costs more mana. This means dodging Victor E is huge when laning versus him. He can't just spam it and miss a few without running out of mana. The problem is, Victor E actually comes down to him missing it, not you dodging it. But it doesn't mean you can't make it a little bit tougher for him to land it. Let me show you. I know his laser is coming up here, and I see the low health minion in front of me. In my mind, he's going to try and grab that last hit and hit me with the laser. So I want to put myself right on the edge of his laser range. This makes him think he can hit me with it. And if my spacing is perfect, I can bait the laser and just barely avoid it. And that looks like this. That's beautiful stuff right there. But anyways, the lane is in a great spot as his wave is pretty big with the cannons still alive, and the next wave is going to be arriving, which will combine with the current one. Victor is going to hard focus on pushing and crashing the wave so he can recall, and I see him doing this since he used his E on the wave. I can't do much to him with that big of a wave, so I just focus on grabbing CS and clearing the wave as it crashes. Alright, so this is where my game knowledge lets me outplay the Victor. First, shoving the wave like he did and recalling wasn't a good play from him. I have no potions and he has TP, so he can just keep pressuring me and use the rest of his mana to get me low enough that I could be dove or until I have to recall. There's no reason for him to recall right now, especially with my jungle showing in bot lane at the moment. I'm going to punish this decision from him by noticing that my next wave is still not here, and that I can clear these ranged minions on the tower quickly before they get here like this. Why is this important? Well, by doing this, the wave gets reset, meaning it just goes back to the middle. If I just last hit the wave instead of clearing it like this, my next wave would get here and be held up until the wave is cleared. Even if they get held up for just a second, it will make my wave start slow pushing to Victor. If that happens, it means I have to stay and push to crash the wave. But he has TP, so he'll TP back with gold spent, full health, and potions, so it would be really hard to crash my wave without dying, and I would probably have to take a bad recall. So I can take my recall now. Victor should have noticed what I did and realized he messed up, and he shouldn't TP back to lane as it doesn't give him any advantage. Basically, he had a really good situation in lane where I was losing and didn't have a way to salvage it, but now things are even because of what he did. Luckily for me, he still used TP to get back to lane. I can just walk back and collect the wave, as I'll only miss a few minions here. Now let's look at the lane state. Before, he had TP, so if we traded a lot, he could always recall and TP back in with full HP, so I'd have to keep that in mind, but now he doesn't have it, so any damage I do to him will stick. And I have heal, meaning I have combat summoner spell advantage, so it would be very hard for him to kill me in a 1v1. This is where things in the lane start to swing in my favor. If we look at the minions, the wave is even and it's on my side of the lane. The even minion rule says in cases like this, it will slow push towards Victor. So I'm just collecting last hits while my wave builds. Victor's going to hit me with a laser here, and then walk up to grab another last hit. This is where he makes his first big mistake since we got back to lane. Victor's Q is a targeted ability, meaning it will draw minion aggro. So when I hit him with my Q and W here, notice I don't try and back off to prevent him from hitting Q. I wanted him to use it here as it will aggro my cannon and 3 ranged minions. My abilities don't draw minion aggro, so I don't have to worry about that here. On top of this, I'm slow pushing to him, meaning it's more worth for me even if we did trade evenly, because I will have a big wave with me which will prevent him from fighting me, so it'll basically always be my turn until I crash this big wave. Also, since I'm the one pushing, I could always just recall if I needed after crashing it. So as my next wave gets here and creates a big wave, you'll see my posture change as I walk up and throw the ball out like this. Like I said, it's basically always going to be my turn from here until the wave crashes, so I put the ball out to get ready to contest any CS he goes for. I poke him a bit with W but sadly miss some damage from my Q not connecting, then collect the rest of my last hits as the big wave crashes. Now, before I get ready to keep pressuring, I want to make sure I'm safe, meaning I want to have vision of the side I'm going to play towards. My jungler's bot side, so I'm going to ward bot and hug that side from here. Now it's party time, meaning now it's time to turn the pressure to 11. I'm safe from ganks, my wave is pushed, and since I'm level 5, I have 3 points in my Q. Ori's laning scales with her level. Every point in Q gives her 30 more damage on it, which is insane when the cooldown is so short. My Q is a 4-second cooldown right now, so I'm going to constantly push and pressure the Victor from here, especially since his TP is down. This just means constantly auto-attacking and using abilities to harass him. He has no potions left with 40% HP and low mana as well. This means he's totally screwed, as I'm ungankable and he doesn't have TP to bail him out. But a lot of players make a mistake when the lane looks like this. They'll get impatient and try to all-in the Victor, then they end up dying to a gank or trading 1 for 1. The lane is already over for him. I can just keep doing the same thing and choke him out of the lane until he overstays and dies or takes a bad recall. So I continue pushing and pressuring until this point. I saw that I was close to level 6 here, and I knew I missed a few CS while walking back the lane, so he must be 1 minion from 6. I knew he was trying to bait here, so I was trying to focus a minion down quickly to basically counter bait. But while doing that, I saw Wukong's clone appear in top river, which means he was ganking, and Lulu shows up as well. Like I said, I'm ungankable right now. And this brings us to why I love bringing heal. Heal is really good when the enemy laner isn't going to bring ignite. It's great for 2v2s, escaping ganks, and in the 1v1 especially if move speed is important like versus Cassio or any mage really. So when Wukong flashes on me here, I just use heal and start kiting towards my jungler. I make sure to turn auto the Wukong to bait him in, and hold my ult for when my jungler gets here so I can ult him and the Lulu. Then I run up and use Q to grab the double kill by killing Lulu. My Nunu chases Victor, and I know he's going to flash the wall, and if he flashed towards his tower, we wouldn't be able to kill him. But when he flashed, I saw he flashed and didn't run towards tower, so I flashed over this way to get the triple. Alright, so basically what just happened was Victor was getting choked out of the lane, which was putting a ton of pressure in mid. That pressure made the enemy jungler and support try to gank, but I was set up to where it wouldn't be possible to gank me. With heal, I didn't even need to flash away from the gank. They overchased, and because I cut into my jungler, they all died. Alright guys, so as you can see, even when I was losing lane early, because of the bad recall he took and the bad TP, I could punish these two things to the fullest, which set up for the big triple kill. If the enemy team didn't gank, Victor would have died in lane or had to take a bad recall anyways. Alright, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about skillcapped. So we offer a 5 division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 2,000 guides curated into over 270 courses. No one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO hell over 1,100 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted. The link's in the description below. But that's going to bring us to the end of this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.